Hello, this is Power in the Word, and I am Scott Reed. Thanks for joining me for another presentation in our Temples in the Text playlist as we look today at Noah's Ark, Templum of Heaven, and maybe a story completely overlooked as holding temple themes. Yet it is the prophet Joseph Smith himself declared that the building of the Ark of Noah was a pattern of heavenly things. A statement I would be sure to turn to Genesis 6 and put in my heading. It is significant that apart from the tabernacle of Moses and the Temple of Solomon, both temple structures, Noah's Ark is the only man-made structure mentioned in the Bible whose design was directly revealed by God. Noah's Ark seemed to have been designed as a temple, specifically a prefiguration of the tabernacle of Moses. The Ark's 3 decks suggest both the 3 divisions of the tabernacle and the threefold layout of the Garden of Eden. Indeed, each of the decks of Noah's Ark was exactly the same height as the tabernacle and 3 times the area of the tabernacle's court. So turning to Genesis 6, verses 10 through 16, of which I hope you do, let's look at what the scriptures teach us about the construction of Noah's Ark, this heavenly pattern. First, as noted, we have 3 distinct decks of which you might want to underline in your scriptures. Much like Eden and the tabernacle, but also much like heaven, where there are 3 degrees or heavens. And in order for one to enter, the first or bottom degree is a door or a gate of which there is no other way to enter. Next, we see that those that entered did so 2 by 2, husband and wife, male and female, or 7 by 7 of those animals that were clean. 7 being the very symbolic number of that of perfection. And we see each of the 4 families that enter, that's Noah and his wife, and his 3 sons and their 3 wives, for a total of 8 people that will be saved by water, and that they all enter as individual families. The ark being the very salvation for all mankind. Mankind denoted through the number 4. Nation, kindred, tongue, people. Heart, might, mind, strength. North, south, east, west, and so forth. And thus the ark containing individual spaces or rooms, or we would call it homes, for each of these families, be it wild or domesticated, all being organized with the emphasis on families. Next, we read that Noah used pitch to cover this ark, the Hebrew word kafar, denoting the very process of covering of the atonement. We also read in these verses that it had a window, of which, if you check your footnote, suggests that it was a stone that shone in the ark, much like the brother of Jared's 16 stones, which provided a special source of light for its travel across the waters. Be sure that you catch that the water is a symbol of death, found in Doctrine and Covenants 128 verses 12 and 13. And that the only way then that Noah's Ark is going to be able to survive the waters of death is through the covering of the atonement of Jesus Christ in the pitch or bitumen or tar. Some great physical points made to correlate to spiritual principles. On this next slide, look at some of the wording that comes out of the scriptures denoting deity's notes on Noah's Ark. From Genesis 6:19, we read that 2 of every sort will come aboard to keep them alive. And so the temple does bring 2 of each to be sure they continue or to stay alive. Genesis 7:1 reads, "And the Lord said unto Noah, Come thou and all thy house into the ark, for thee have I seen righteous before me in this generation." And as I've noted in the Psalms presentation, the word generation meaning a circle of people in the Hebrew. Last of all, coming down to verses 16 and 17 in Genesis 7, we read, "And they that went in, male and female, of all flesh, as God had commanded him, and the Lord shut him up." He's the one that sealed up the ark, and the flood was 40 days upon the earth, and the waters increased and bare up the ark, and it was lifted up, and thus those who are sealed up shall be lifted up, as the Lord has declared through the participation of temple ordinances. As a heavenly pattern, we noted that Noah's Ark is very similar to Adam and Eden, and I would take a moment and maybe make some annotations concerning the pattern between these 2 individuals and their events. Coming last of all then to this slide, I've placed in individual columns the similarities between the Ark of Noah, the creation of Eden for Adam, and the tabernacle of Moses, all found in our Bible, and that they are similar in their very template and blueprint to each other. I hope that you've enjoyed studying Noah's Ark as seen through temple eyes. And let me just add these 7 points concerning the building of these boats of salvation as seen in our 3 scriptural stories of not only Noah, but also Nephi and the brother of Jared, which we'll allude to a little bit later in their own temple experiences in this playlist. Hope you'll join me again as we look into the scriptures and search for temple imagery in them, that we might come to better understand our own experience here in the latter days.